Welcome to Double Portion Inheritance with Maria Merola and Gary Wold, brought to you by DoublePortionInheritance.com. Since 1981, Maria heard the call of Yahuwah to become a watchman to the house of Yisrael and to those within the traditional Christian church. She was instructed to warn them against the false doctrines and pagan traditions of men. After 25 years of studying Scripture, the word of Yahuwah came to Maria again in 2007 as she was called out of the corporate world to become a full-time intercessor and prophetic teacher. The name of the ministry, Double Portion Inheritance, was given to her after she received the revelation of the two houses of Yisrael from Ezekiel 37:16. The mission of this ministry is to bring together the stick of Judah and the stick of Joseph for the return of the Messiah, Yahushua. And now, Maria Merola.
Today is December 3rd, 2022. The name of this blog is called Comparing Donald Trump to Damien, Thorn, and Nikolai Carpathia. You know, the reason I'm talking about this is because there have been so many films in which Donald Trump has been depicted. It's unbelievable. I've never seen a presidential candidate be portrayed in so many books and so many films as this one man. And I believe there's a definite reason for this. I believe it's because the Illuminati, the global elites, are subconsciously trying to place him in the minds of the public consciousness, because I believe they've chosen him to build the temple in Jerusalem. Am I saying he's the Antichrist? Well, there's more than one anti-Messiah leader. So when people say the Antichrist, there's no such thing as the Antichrist. The article "the" is never placed in front of the word Antichrist or anti-Mashiach in the scriptures. There's more than one. Our Messiah said that in the last days there would be many false messiahs and false prophets. 1 John 2:18, it says that there are many anti-messiahs. So am I saying he's the only one? No, I think there's more than one anti-messiah leader. But is he the one that Daniel describes as the little horn? I believe that he's the best fit that I've seen, as far as all the characteristics, as far as all the personality traits. And so I'm going to explain how I believe the global elites have chosen him to do their bidding. Okay. So the original film, entitled The Omen, which debuted on June 6, 1976, and I believe there was an important reason why they chose this date, June 6, 1976. It debuted in the United Kingdom. See, this date has significance because Donald Trump was born on June 14th, 1946. This would have been exactly 8 days after his 30th birthday, okay, that they released this film. See, if the global elites were trying to tell us that Trump is the chosen one to build the temple in Jerusalem, it was fitting that they would have introduced the idea to the world when he became a 30-year-old man. You see, in the 4th chapter of the book of Numbers, a man cannot enter into the priesthood until he officially becomes 30 years of age. So even more significant is that Damien Thorn in this movie called The Omen, his date of birth in the film is June 6, 1966. But why is this date important? Because, see, this is the same date as Donald Trump's grandmother, Elizabeth Christ Trump. It's the date that she died. She died on June 6, 1966. And this is the date when Donald Trump inherited his fortune from his paternal grandmother, Elizabeth Christ Trump. The Omen, Part 3, The Final Conflict, the third film, debuted on March 20th, 1981. This would have been when Donald Trump was 33 years old. Now think about this. Our Messiah was 33 years old when he died as the Passover lamb. March 20th, 1981 was the vernal equinox. You know, in the occult world, the vernal equinox is important because it's a full moon. So they released this on a strategic date because these global elites are involved in satanic rituals. And there's some other clues in the Omen trilogy which I believe link Damien Thorn to Donald Trump. First, each of their names contain 11 letters, and their initials are DT. So Damien is 6 letters. Thorn is 5 letters. Donald is also 6 letters. Trump is also 5 letters. Now, back in 1981, I went to the movie theater to watch this movie, The Final Conflict, about Damien Thorn, the Antichrist. Of course, that's what they call him in the movie. What I didn't know back then is that the film featured Damien Thorn, played by Sam Neill, the actor Sam Neill. They were giving us predictive programming about Donald J. Trump. Okay? Now, take a look at this graphic I made. You will see in the film Damien Thorn attending Davidson Military Academy. And here we see Donald Trump attending New York Military Academy. And this was his graduation picture in 1964. Donald J. Trump, 1964, New York Military Academy. And also the movie, The Omen 4, had the subtitle, The Awakening. That's awfully similar to the QAnon movement that calls Trump's presidency the Great Awakening. Now, here's another important thing. Trump is the 4th U.S. president in U.S. history to attend a military academy. That's only 4 presidents out of 46. So it's not that common for a president to attend a military academy. Now, the first thing I noticed when researching the film is that the movie poster for The Omen 4 uses the phrase The Awakening, which is very similar to the Great Awakening that is being used as a marketing tool to promote Donald Trump with New Agers and the QAnon cult. There are other strikingly similar and disturbing parallels between Donald Trump and Damien Thorn from the Omen movies. Like I said, the initials DT in both names. Another interesting thing is that the Hebrew letter Dalet, which is equivalent to the English letter D, means the door. The Hebrew letter Ta means the last or the end. Therefore, the initials DT stand for the door to the end. Damien and Donald both contain 6 letters. Thorn and Trump both contain 5 letters for a total of 11 letters. So both Damien Thorn and Donald Trump, their name contains 11 letters. Now, the meaning of the name Damien means powerful man of the people. It also means to tame. It comes from the Greek word daimon, which means powerful, and demos, which means people. Damazian, which means to tame or subdue. Now, the meaning of the name Donald is a masculine name derived from the Gaelic Domnall. And this is the Proto-Celtic Domnalos, which means world ruler. So the name Donald means ruler of the world. In fact, Newsmax CEO Chris Ruddy made a shocking statement on January 26, 2021, that Trump is the ruler of the world. And you see this in this YouTube video, which you can go to. In the Omen film, Damien Thorn becomes the president of the United States, just like Donald Trump. Both Donald Trump and Damien Thorn attend military academies. As a side note, Trump, like I said, is the 4th president in history to attend a military academy in his youth. Both Damien and Donald become famously rich via inheritances. Trump inherited $413 million per the New York Times. Both turned their inheritances into vast multinational business enterprises and bought real estate all over the globe. Both had older brothers who died, allowing the younger sons to take over the family businesses. Damien Thorn takes over Thorn Industries in 1971. Donald Trump took over the Trump Organization in 1971. I don't think that's a coincidence. The actor Sam Neill, who played the Antichrist, was born on September 14th, 1947. Donald Trump was born June 14th, 1946. Thus, these two men are very close in age, and both of them were born on the Ides of the month, which means a full moon. They were both born on the 14th day of the month. Both Damien Thorn and Donald Trump own a winery. Now, here's some more parallels between Damien Thorn and Donald Trump. I've already mentioned this, but in the film Omen 2, Damien's birthday is revealed as 666, June 6, 1966. But this is the same date for Donald Trump's grandmother's death, Elizabeth Christ Trump. Okay, this is a picture of her in 1902. She looks a lot like Barron Trump, his youngest son. But she died on June 6, 1966. So it was Elizabeth Christ Trump who incorporated the Trump family business that Donald Trump took over and ran after her death. Thus, Donald Trump became the heir of the Trump family business on the same day that Damien Thorn was born. In other words, Donald J. Trump was born into the family inheritance on June 6, 1966, just like Damien Thorn in the Omen movie. The Trumps own the most expensive building ever purchased in the United States at 666 Fifth Avenue, a street symbolic of money or mammon. The Trumps paid $1.8 billion for the 666 tower, and 18 is the sum of 6 plus 6 plus 6. The 666 tower is held by Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. The 666 building is home to Lucent Technologies, which was previously called Lucifer Technologies, which manufactures the RFID chip. The RFID chip stands for Radio Frequency Identification Chip. This is the same technology that is being used for the mark of the beast, according to Revelation 13:18. Lucent Technologies has in their product line technologies that are called Inferno, Styx, and Limbo. 3 different types of technologies, right? The 666 building appeared in the movies The Devil's Advocate, starring Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. Okay, so in this movie, it featured Donald Trump's penthouse.
Those names are quite interesting.
What?
Inferno, is fire, heat.
Right.
Right? Styx.
The river.
Styx that takes you into the underworld, the afterlife.
Right.
And then you have Limbo.
Right.
That's really weird. Considering they're Lucent, Lucifer, and 666 Avenue. That's all really strange coincidence.
Right. In The Devil's Advocate, Al Pacino is the devil who has set up a law firm in New York in order to subvert justice and release evil into society. And who is Satan's favorite client? The guy who lives on the top floor of the Trump Tower. The character who is depicting Trump is Alexander Cullen, a billionaire who gets away with murdering his wife. Now, I think it's interesting they chose the name Alexander because I see Trump as a type of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was a conqueror, and Alexander the Great subdued 3 kingdoms, just like the Abraham Accords. When Trump signed the Abraham Accords with Israel, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. 3 kings he subdued. But here's the other thing is that AC, the initials Alexander Cullen, I think is deliberate, that the filmmakers are trying to say Antichrist, AC. Okay? But let's look at the word Cullen, meaning of the name Cullen. Considered to many to mean handsome, Cullen is better linked to the ancient Gaelic name Culanian, which means son of the Holy One. Oh, son of the Holy One. Interesting. So you see, they didn't just pick this name just in a vacuum. They had ideas when they picked the name of this character, Alexander Cullen. Okay. The name Alexander means defender of men. And that's what a lot of people think that Trump is. They think, he's going to take down the cabal. He's going to go after all the child sex traffickers, blah, blah, blah.
So this guy who's the favorite person of Satan incarnate in the film is literally defender of men, son of the Holy One?
Yeah. And his initials AC, I believe that the film writers are intimating about the Antichrist, right? But they literally used Trump's penthouse.
That is his home.
They used Trump's penthouse for the film.
Yeah, it was the set.
Right. The Trumps are also in the process of building a $666 million tower at One Journal Square. According to multiple reports, the height will be 666 feet. Now, I recommend this video. Is Trump a Freemason? Trump Tower 666, Temple of Baal. You will see how many ways in which the Trump Tower is patterned after a Freemasonic temple, a temple of Baal. And you can tell it's all deliberate. It's not like, oh, he just did this all by accident. According to multiple reports, the famous Trump Tower is 203 meters tall. 203 meters is equivalent to 666 feet. Also, the Trumps live on the 66th floor. In the first year of Trump's presidency, fiscal year 2017, the budget deficit swelled to $666 billion. This is per Fox Business and other sources. This kind of reminds me of when King Solomon earned 666 talents of gold in 1 year. Only the opposite. The deficit swelled to $666 billion. Donald Trump inherited his grandmother's real estate empire when she died on June 6, 1966. In other words, 666. The reason her name is Elizabeth Christ Trump is because the Trump family believe they are descended from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. They believe they are the Rosicrucians. They believe that our Messiah, Yahushua, whom they call Jesus, they believe he married Mary Magdalene and that they are direct descendants of her. And this was spoken of in the film called The Da Vinci Code. This whole idea comes from the cult of the Rosicrucians. They call themselves Merovingian Jews because they believe they are direct seed of Messiah, which of course is total garbage. Okay, Donald Trump's name equates to 666 in Gematria, Jewish Gematria, English Gematria, and also in computer ASCII code. Now, Trump announced his candidacy for president on June 16th, 2015. In other words, it was the 6th month of the year. 1 times 6 is 6, and then 1 plus 5 for 2015 is also 6. So the day that he announced his presidency was 666. Now, I made this graphic because we often see Trump using the 666 sign. I mean, he uses it constantly. It's where he forms the number 6 with his hand, and then he's got the 3 fingers up in the air. Elon Musk uses this symbol a lot, too. This is an Illuminati symbol. Also, at the GOP primaries in 2016, Donald Trump had 666 delegates, as compared to Ted Cruz with 413, Marco Rubio 172, and John Kasich 142. That was not a coincidence. In fact, here's a picture up in the corner that shows Trump standing with a little model of his Trump Tower, and at the base of the tower, he's got a row of 6 trees by 6 trees by 6 trees. There's the inverted pyramid. Each of these has 6 trees, 666, right? And this video that I told you about explains the whole design and why you see Trump always doing the inverted pyramid sign with his hands. On the Ides of March 2016, he had 666 delegates, as I showed in this graphic. Trump is the ultimate 666 man. Now, on January 19th, 2021, this was Trump's last day as POTUS. However, on November 15th, 2022, which was just last month, he officially announced he's running for president. That's a total of 666 days. He was originally supposed to make the announcement on Monday, November 14th, but at the last minute, he changed his mind and decided to announce it on the 15th of November, which this leads me to believe that he wanted to invoke the number 666 as part of his Kabbalah magic ritual, which he has been practicing since the 1980s. He even admits it in his book called The Way to the Top. He talks about his Kabbalah teacher, Eitan Cohen. So Trump, you see him doing the 666 symbol over both of his eyes. He doesn't just do these 666 symbols in a vacuum. There's a reason why he's invoking these numbers. Now, what's interesting is that in Revelation 13:18, it says, "Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Well, what's interesting is that the Greek word for count is sephizo, which literally means to compute. Now, it was possible to do computations in ancient times, but now we've got computer ASCII code, which has become an official language in our modern culture. And now we have the ability to decipher the number and the name of the beast according to computer ASCII code. So it is for this reason that I like to use this website, antichristcalculator.com, because it's the only website that I've found on the internet that uses 10 different methods of Gematria, which also includes computer ASCII code. Other websites only use Greek or English Gematria, but I am floored at how many ways in which President Trump's name computes up to 666. If you put in President Donald Trump, it adds up to 666. If you type in Trump is Antichrist, it adds up to 666. Trump is Satan equals 666. Trump is devil equals 666. Trump is reptile equals 666. Trump is serpent equals 666. Trump is he-goat equals 666. Trump from hell, 666. Trump is Nimrod, 666. Trump is Assyrian, 666. Trump is Poseidon. And the reason I use this is because I have a close friend who had a dream about Trump being, Poseidon. He had the trident. He was the monster from the sea. Trump is Nero, 666. Trump is Roman, 666. Trump is Judas, 666. Trump is Nebuchadnezzar, 666. Trump is Tyrus, the prince of Tyre in Ezekiel 28. A friend of mine, the same friend that said she was praying and asking the Father, show me who Trump is in a dream. I want to know who he really is. And she was shown he looked just like Poseidon with the trident, a sea monster. And in the dream, she said, you're the prince of Tyre. And he said, yes, I am, in the dream to her. In the King James, they say Tyrus, but it's in some translations, it says Tyre. And this is a city, a seaport along the Mediterranean coast. Trump is Pope, adds up to 666. The V word adds up to 666. Mark of the Beast adds up to 666. Trump, the Prince of Grecia, adds up to 666. I mean, I've not seen anybody's name add up to this many terms with 666. Trump is Halo, in Isaiah 14:12, where it says, how are you fallen from heaven, Lucifer, son of the morning? The Hebrew there is Halo. Trump is Halo, adds up to 666. Trump is Haman, just like the guy that, forged an evil plot against the Yehudim, the Jews in Persia. Trump is Damien, just like Damien Thorn, 666. Trump shadow president. See, I believe Trump's been the shadow president this whole time. Biden has been just nothing more than a joke. Trump Pence Antichrist 666. Trump from hell. I already listed that here. Trump tyrant 666. Trump is clone 666. Trump is Solomon 666. Trump is unicorn 666. Trump is Hercules. Trump is arrogant 666. Trump is prideful 666. Trump is Baal. Trump is AI. It's uncanny how many ways in which his name, and I've done this with other names, I couldn't get a match for these other names. Now, some people might say, oh, Gematria is witchcraft. No, it's not. Gematria just means geometry in Greek. And I have a blog here called Is Gematria Witchcraft? Now, it can be used in that way. I mean, if you're going to use numbers to forecast your future, yes, you can definitely use it in an occult way. But Scripture commands us to count or to compute the number of the beast. So in that regard, it's not witchcraft unless you use it in that way. And right here, I have another blog called Does the Number 666 Appear in the Bible? Because some people try to argue that the number 666 does not appear in the Bible, and I prove that it does appear. There's a precedent for it in two different places with King Nebuchadnezzar, who erected a golden statue of himself that was 66 cubits high. And then he commanded that 6 musical instruments be played. And at the sound of these 6 musical instruments, everybody had to bow to the golden image of him that was 66 cubits. So there we have 66 cubits and 6 musical instruments. Also, King Solomon collected 666 talents of gold. So, yes, there's already a precedent for 666 in Scripture. And then, of course, we have the Greek numerical value of the 3 Greek letters, chi, z, stigma, chi, xi, stigma. Chi is 600, 60 is the Greek letter z, and stigma is 6. So the 3 Greek letters, chi, xi, stigma, is 666. Now, this is a graphic I made, which I found just eerie, very eerie, that in the movie called Left Behind from 2005, it's the Left Behind movie part 3 in the trilogy, the guy that plays the part of the Antichrist, his name is Nikolai Carpathia. He's holding up a syringe of a green serum. And you'll notice the actor looks eerily similar to Trump in his younger years. Very similar. It's crazy. But it also makes me think that the green serum that this guy Nikolai Carpathia is holding up kind of reminds me of the snake poem that Trump told. In fact, in the recent couple years, it says a new study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation has identified a snake venom-related enzyme that may be the key cause of related mortality. Okay, and that would be with the snake bite, which I did a blog about his poem about the snake and the woman. It's a very short blog, but it's obvious to me what's being presented to us. I mean, it's in plain sight that he tells this poem about a woman who takes in a snake that's half dead, and she restores the snake back to life. She nurtures him back to life. Now, it comes from this song by L. Wilson that was recorded in 1968, but Trump, recited the lyrics, and this was supposedly in connection with immigration, illegal immigration. But after 2020, with the scam-demic, it became obvious to most of us that the snake poem that he was talking about was himself as the snake, and the woman that got bitten, He says, "You knew I was a snake before you took me in." And he bites her with a nasty bite and she dies. So, it's just uncanny that all these similarities are right out there in the open for us to see. And I don't think that it's an accident. In fact, there's the skin patch that's developed with 100 tiny needles modeled after a snake fang, which is a semiconductor processor. Each needle is twice or 3 times thicker than a human hair and functions as a syringe. This new stamping patch can also be used in cosmetics. So they admit that this technology, the quantum dot patch, was developed. It says a research team has invented a medical stamping patch inspired by rear-fanged snakes that delivers liquid drugs within 15 seconds into the skin. The National Research Foundation of Korea. Okay, so they've got this technology. I've got all the links here that you can look these things up yourself. Luciferase, quantum dot. I recommend you go to these links and research this for yourself. They're telling us in plain sight who the father of the snake bite is. So this is a short little blog that I did, and I just wanted to share it with you because so many people are deceived by this man. Don't be deceived.
Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. We hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast and that you are encouraged in your walk with Messiah. For more teachings, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of our latest content. Visit Maria's many blogs at doubleportioninheritance.com. That's doubleportioninheritance.com. This ministry is made possible by the prayers and support of listeners like you. To make a donation by PayPal or Venmo.com, use the email address doubleportioninheritance@gmail.com. That's doubleportioninheritance@gmail.com. On behalf of Maria and Gary at Double Portion Inheritance Ministries, may Yahuwah bless you.